everybody, to another fantastic episode of the podcast by the Sons of Technology. My name is Joe Marquez. I'm Director of Academic Innovation for Q and an educator out of the Central Valley of California. And as always, my partner in innovation, Kyle Anderson. Kyle, please introduce yourself.
Good day, everybody. This is Kyle Anderson. I am a special education facilitator in Las Vegas, Nevada. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Peloton, all of those at Anderson EdTech. I am also writing a blog out there at andersonedtech.net. And then my book, To the Edge, Successes and Failures Through Risk-Taking. That's available on Amazon and is also available on barnesandnoble.com and through my publisher, EduMatch Publishing.
All right. Now, Kyle, it is hopefully our listeners are in the thick of summer right now. School is out, the end of the year festivities have concluded, and hopefully our listeners are taking care of themselves. That's kind of the theme, a little bit of the theme, the summer theme of today's episode. Would you like to go into it just a little bit deeper for the audience of what we're going to be talking about today?
Yeah, we did an episode several months ago, maybe even a couple of years ago now. I'm not 100% sure when we did this one, but we called it Therapedy. And this is kind of our part 2 episode of that. So taking a look at the importance of taking care of yourself and recognizing what you need to do to keep yourself mentally sane. And then also recognizing your self-doubts and figuring out what you need to do to address those doubts, and also developing yourself professionally when you are in a down period. So like you said, it's summer, and that there's an opportunity for growth in a lot of areas, professionally, mentally, physically, so on and so forth. So we wanted to take some time to kind of talk about these things again with a little bit of emphasis on what these last 2 years have been. I know last episode that we did, we were right in the thick of it, but we're still in a pandemic. It's just things have opened up a lot more, but there's still issues that around the pandemic that's causing issues for individuals as well.
No, I mean, I agree with you, quite a bit. A lot of people, we're saying, we're back to normal at school, or as normal as possible, right? Back to face-to-face classes. But that also brings along, some things that we had to deal with this year, right? Like a lot of teachers were able to have a little bit more time, right? Because they were either working from their home or they were working from their classroom, but students were at home. They had a little bit more flexibility, and then going back to a rigid schedule can kind of be, can kind of mess with your mind a little bit. So, finding ways to ensure that you take care of yourself, mind, body, and spirit throughout the school year, and then leading into the summer as well. And then I also want to touch a little bit during the episode just on how our minds mess with us. A lot of times we put our minds into social media, meaning we see what other people are doing and other people are, how their careers are going. And sometimes internally we think, well, how come I can't be like that person? Or how come I'm not being noticed like that person, right? I've noticed a lot of educators leaving the classroom and becoming TOSAs, or leaving the classroom and becoming specialists for different organizations or different ed tech tools. And you have some teachers that are like, should I make that jump? Am I not good enough to make that jump? You have a lot of these questions, you may be questioning yourself. And I really emphasize to people, it's, one person's journey isn't your journey. Right? One person's trials and tribulations, or one person's advancement, that's not your journey, right? And I really, when I talk to people about this, I really try to emphasize, what do you want to do? Right? Is your passion in the classroom, working with students? Does that bring you joy? Do you want to work more with teachers and spread your knowledge to teachers so they can then spread that to students? Do you want it to be localized? Do you want it to be more national? What do you want to do? Because I'll tell you, I miss the classroom every single day. I absolutely do. I love the job that I have right now. As the Director of Academic Innovation for Q. I love being able to work with Q membership and a lot of different educators, but I miss the classroom every single day. I loved my previous job before Q as an education strategist with CDW. I loved the traveling, but I missed my family and I missed my classroom every single day. I envy teachers who would get to work with students every single day, right? And so it's everybody has to look internally and ask, what do you want with your career? What brings you joy? Because advancement isn't necessarily the answer to joy, right? So we have to make sure we get out of our own minds, get out of what we perceive as happening through social media to others, and just take your own journey and just ensure that you're taking care of yourself, taking care of your family, taking care of your fellow staff and students. I mean, that's the journey of educators, right? So get out of your head, because they can mess with you, right? Right, Kyle?
Well, yeah, and that's really the main reason why we decided to do this again, because just in all openness, and at this point, this is not a secret because I've been open about this before, and then I put something out on Facebook and Twitter both here recently about how I was really struggling with my mental health. So I got done. My last day of school was on May 26th. So, as we're recording this, I've been out for 3 weeks already. And I'm a person that has always thrived on routine, having a schedule. This is what I got to do at this time, planning things out. I'm very type A in that regard, with planning things out. So, and my cross country road trip I'm taking this summer, I'm a planner. I have to figure out, where am I sleeping on this night, how far am I driving, so on and so forth. But when school got out, those first few days, especially this year, were glorious. Just not having to worry about setting an alarm, not having to get up or having to be anywhere. So those first few days are absolutely great. But then a few days later, then the lack of routine set in for me. So now I'm not busy all the time. I don't have something to keep me occupied. And I got into my head. Now I'm alone with my thoughts. And I was having a hard time with those thoughts, nothing like dangerous by any means, but like thoughts of just like, I don't even know how to explain it. I was in a funk that I could not get out of. And just the main thing I wanted to do was just kind of lay around, maybe watch TV and just sleep and just not do much of anything else. And, I was trying my best to watch stuff that was really upbeat or funny, live sports, those kinds of things. And then I've been working out a lot. Most days I'm working out at least 2 hours, whether it's doing a super long bike ride or walking on my treadmill while watching TV, killing two birds with one stone, whatever it may be. But I was really struggling, and just saying something and putting it out there was kind of therapeutic for me. Just like, I wasn't necessarily looking for any sort of sympathy or thoughts or anything. It was just more of like, hey, been struggling. I'm good for the most part, but obviously if I'm struggling, there's other people that are as well. So it was just something that I wanted to put out there, and it was really nice to see how many people just reached out and said something to me or whatever, and gave me some suggestions and whatnot. So nothing against anybody, but some of the suggestions were, you're not really understanding what I'm saying right now. So, I think it's important that if you are struggling, just saying something is therapeutic enough, and if it's something that's real bad, obviously you need to go a little bit further and whatnot. But I'm in a better place now after saying something about it.
No, I mean, there is a power in releasing your feelings in verbal form. I mean, during the pandemic, one of the things that, and I wouldn't even say pandemic, working from home, that's an issue all in itself, right? I mean, I'm glad everybody, I don't want to say everybody, I'm glad a lot of people, a majority of people experienced working from home, because teachers, no teacher has ever said, I want to become a teacher to work from home, right? No teacher ever said, I want to become a teacher so I can talk to children in boxes on a screen, right? You become a teacher because you like the physicality of being a teacher with students in your room and the interactions and the hustle and bustle of that. For the most part, we like that, right? Nobody ever says you want to work from home. But knowing that everybody's experienced that now, at least for the most part, it can get lonely. Even though you see people virtually, it's not the same. And for myself, I think it's now been about 4 years, and it blows my mind to say that, because I close my eyes and I'm back in my classroom teaching my students. It blows my mind that it's been 4 years, 2018. But it's been 4 years since I have actually worked in an environment with people that I can walk over to and see and joke with and trade ideas and have questions. And when you don't have that, sometimes you begin to feel that you're atrophying in your abilities. I will say that classroom teachers who are doing it day in and day out, trying new things, they are the change makers, right? And I am just running on a treadmill, trying to stay, capable of being able to do that stuff. I do feel occasionally that I am missing out on maybe things I would have discovered or I would have created if the need arose in the classroom. I think that's where the true innovation happens, at the teachers working in the classroom. And so there are times where I think to myself, man, in this position, even though I'm called the director of academic innovation, am I able to better myself day in and day out the same way that I was as an in-class educator? Those thoughts creep into my mind all the time. And the only thing that has made me sane is being able to talk with my fellow colleagues and friends every day on an app called Marco Polo. Kyle, we talk occasionally on Marco Polo. I talk on Marco Polo every single day when I go for my walks. And I talk with people that I now am proud to call my friends, even though I've never met them in person. But I talk with people who just reached out. They reached out on Twitter or through an email and said, hey, I'm struggling too. Do you mind if we talk? Or, hey, I have a question. Do you mind if we talk? And we start talking on Marco Polo, and now we talk every single day, right? I mean, Roland in Canada, right, who's always been a friend of the show and a friend of the EdTech Army. But through the pandemic, we started connecting. Really good friend, really great person, right? Roland, great shout out to you. Tyler Keefe from Idaho, who I would have never have met. I've becoming pretty good friends with him. He's in Disney World at the moment with his family. And Chris Babb, right? A PE teacher out of, and I always get the upper states mixed up. Not Missouri, not Wisconsin, not Montana. Oh, Wyoming. There it is. Found it. I knew it was a W. Wyoming. I never would have met him either. And we've become really good friends through conversations. And that has kept me sane. That is my therapy, because we can talk unfiltered and we know what is said in Marco Polo stays in Marco Polo, and we can get things off of our chest from an EdTech standpoint, from a coworker standpoint, from a family standpoint. Like you being able to type your words to to Facebook and feel a little bit of, I'm glad I did that. That's my every morning. I get to do that. That's what keeps me sane, that connection, that talking. So I absolutely understand what you say. I just needed to get it out to kind of relieve that pressure, right?
Yeah, the working from home piece, when I was working from home with school shutdown and everything, it was something that, again, it was one of those things. In the beginning, it wasn't so bad. It was like, oh, I can sleep in a little bit. I don't have to commute a half an hour, and then now at the current state of affairs, I'm not spending, tons of cash every week on gas because, gas prices being as high as they are. So, but yeah, I'm sure it took a toll on me after a while. Whereas like once we finally were able to go back in person, it's like, okay, this is what I needed, being around people again. But in the sense of you, where you've been doing this now for 4 years, working from home, I commend you for being able to do it, because I'm not sure I'd be able to do it every day. And yeah, there's times where over these last few weeks of summer where I haven't left the house for 3-4 days, where all of a sudden I'm like, I just got to get out of the house. I need to go somewhere, even if that is I have 3/4 of a tank of gas, and I just drive down the street and top off the tank, just to get out of the house. And but then sometimes I regret leaving because it's 112 degrees outside, and you go outside and so like you're walking into a pizza oven or something like that. So, but yeah, sometimes just getting out of the house is helpful as well. So, so yeah, again, I commend you for being able to work from home for 4 years and still be able to keep your sanity. But you found some really good ways to do that.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm looking forward to more. The position that I currently hold, I started at the very beginning of the pandemic. I'm actually coming up on my 2-year anniversary with Q here in July. But part of this job is supposed to be traveling to affiliate events, traveling to spring Q and fall Q and various other conferences put on by different organizations to be out there and presenting. That's part of my job. And I would love that part of my job. But because of the pandemic, the traveling hasn't happened. Right. And so, the first 2 fall Qs that I was a part of as a staff member of Q, virtual. The first spring Q I was a part of as a staff member, virtual. Luckily, we were able to have a face-to-face fall Q this year. But Kyle, I've even told you about this. Even though I loved being around people and I loved seeing my Q friends and I loved seeing just everybody at the conference, one of my favorite part of the conference is the networking after hours, right? Being able to hobnob with everybody and cheers people with an adult beverage at the end of the night and just talk about life and struggles that we have. But I tell you, I was so tired being on the side as a staff member of Q all day long, running around, doing everything that, I mean, by the end of the night, I was up in the hotel room, passed out asleep on the bed by 6 or 7 o'clock. I missed out on all the nightly things that I wish I was a part of. And I feel like I'd missed out. And so at the end of spring Q, even though I was super happy that it happened, as a staff, we were super excited at how successful it was, meaning bringing people together. I was still a little disappointed at the end that I didn't get to hang out with my friends as much as I wanted to. And going into fall Q, which is happening October 22nd and 23rd in Stockton, California, I'm looking forward to trying to find ways to save enough energy to be able to hang out with people at least to a reasonable hour at night, right? I want to try to make that a specific requirement of myself is to make sure I get that in.
Well, and that's that. We were joking at Spring Q. That's that conference stamina. So we hadn't done it in so long, where you didn't have the energy to do it because you hadn't been doing it at all. Same thing with just traveling in general. So now I mean, I stayed out a little bit later on those nights, but I wasn't staying out nearly as late as I had been at Spring Qs in the past, where going out till 2 o'clock in the morning and then being back up at 7 the next morning kind of deal. So it's a combination of not having done it for a few years, but also just getting older in general. So Ben, my co-host on Beer Review, he jokes all the time that we can't do recordings much past 8 o'clock because that's his bedtime, because we're getting older and we just need to be in bed at that point. So, but well, and that's another thing that I've been struggling with since the summer, is because I don't have that schedule. My sleep schedule is all over the place. So, I mean, there's nights where I'm lying in bed a little after 9, watching something, falling asleep a little bit later on. But then there's ones where all of a sudden it's 1:30. I look at the clock. I'm like, wait, what am I doing right now? So, like my sleep schedule is all messed up as well because I don't have that daily schedule, which is messing with me a little bit as well. So now, luckily, I have 2 children that are relatively self-sufficient at this point, where if they get up super early, I can still sleep and they're not going to come and bother me or anything like that. But I don't like the whole, sleeping till, I've only done this once, but sleeping past 10 o'clock, that's just ridiculous. So, half your day's gone if you do that. But there's definitely, most days anymore, I mean, I'm sleeping till 7:30, 8 o'clock because, again, I'm going to bed later than I typically would. So now the solution to that is just to force myself to go to bed. But again, when you don't have a schedule, you have to worry about the next day. It's a little bit it's easier said than done. It's just not as simple as saying, yeah, we'll just go to bed earlier. So because it's also not healthy just to lay in bed trying to fall asleep and then not doing it, just laying there for 3 hours. So there's there's struggles with that as well.
Yeah, I have not had that issue. I usually have a pretty uh, robust schedule at night with my daughters. Since I work from home, I show my love to my family by cooking them dinner each night. So I make sure that I have dinner planned and I have dinner going and ready. So when my wife comes home from work around 5:30, 6 o'clock, dinner is ready. She doesn't have to worry about it. And we have dinner as a family at the dinner table. We're making that a very important aspect of our family, asking each other about our day. I ensure that I model that with my daughters, and I ask my wife, honey, how was your day? And we ask the girls, how was their day? And we really encourage them to ask us how our day was. We really want to emphasize that family structure. And then by 7 o'clock, I'm drawing them a bath. I used to call it bath time babies, but they're not babies anymore. I have a 6-year-old, and my 3-year-old thinks she's a big kid, so I can't say bath time baby. So I have to say it's just bath time now. And we're out of bath by 7:30. Their teeth gets brushed. We're laying in bed by 7:45. I'm reading them a book, and usually I fall asleep first. My wife has told me we used to watch a show on my phone on YouTube called Dr. Binocs. Really, nice little cartoon. It teaches you science and all these different things and history and stuff. My daughters really loved it, but I would fall asleep, and my 6-year-old would slyly take my phone away from me and then just go on YouTube and watch whatever she wanted. My wife would come going, "What are you doing?" But so I don't have a problem falling asleep because I'm asleep by 8 o'clock, 8:30, just passed out. But I wake up at 4 every morning. My body now, I don't use an alarm clock. My body now is just, I wake up at 4 and I'm like, okay, time to get up, roll out of bed, and then get the day started and do my run and my walk and all that stuff. That's the schedule I stick to. And then boom, I get to work. By 9 o'clock, I'm at my desk. I'm doing stuff with Q. I'm creating things. I'm making things. I'm ideating on things. But here's the key. I try to get out at noon for a walk, for a stretch, for some movement. And then I'm back at my computer by 12:45, 1 o'clock to be back doing my work. But I have to get away from the screen. Otherwise I go crazy. But I think it's important to have a schedule when you're working from home. If it's just all willy nilly, you can go even crazier trying to figure out things to do. And I think, Kyle, you even said it. If you don't have a schedule, sometimes you end up just sitting on the couch and binging TV. You know what I mean? And so I have to stick to a schedule to make sure that I'm doing work every single day, trying to make the best out of my schedule from home.
Yeah, I have caught up on a handful of things on Netflix, on the other streaming services. So far this summer, I was able to watch the first half of the new season of Stranger Things. So by the time this posts, the second half of that season will be out. So probably won't be able to watch it right away because I will be on my vacation road trip at that point. So and that new season, the episodes are a lot longer. To the previous seasons, the episodes were 45, 50 minutes, maybe an hour. Some of these ones in the new season are upwards of an hour and a half. So there's a little bit more time that you have to commit to it. So, and then I also watched Shoresy, which is the spinoff from Letterkenny on Hulu, which is absolutely hilarious. Those episodes are only like 25 minutes and there was only 6 of them. So I blew through those pretty quick. And then I watched the second season of The Flight Attendant on HBO Max, which was pretty cool. So if you haven't watched Flight Attendant, it's kind of a murder mystery kind of show. So kind of neat little show. And then I started watching. It's been in my Netflix queue for probably 4 or 5 years. I've never started it, but I started watching Peaky Blinders, which is it's a crime drama like set in 1919 Birmingham, England, and it's about a criminal gang called the Peaky Blinders. And the episodes they're about an hour long, so a little bit of a time commitment. And then you really got to focus because the story kind of jumps a little bit here and there. And then it is a British show, so the accents are pretty thick. So sometimes you really got to focus to understand what they're saying. So yeah, I have watched a few shows of. Oh, I forgot. Also, I watched Ted Lasso. I burned through all the episodes of Ted Lasso as well. So yeah, I have watched a few shows, and then on top of that, you got your live sports I would watch. NHL playoffs, going through those and watching some baseball, and then I've been watching a lot more soccer as well. So especially getting excited for the World Cup coming up in November. So that's been occupying my time. And again, like I said, I've been working out a lot. So I got my treadmill set up, and there's a TV in the room where my treadmill is. So I'm able to actually watch TV, watch a lot of the stuff I talked about while walking on the treadmill. So I'm not just sitting around. So, but with that though, I wish I was better about scheduling when I'm going to work out though, because there's some days I wake up and I'm on the bike or the treadmill by 9 a.m. But then there's other days it's not till like 3:30. So I'm kind of all over the place with that too. So, that not having the schedule, it's really tough. And then again, it can get inside your head a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you as well, watching those shows, but I stick to watching TV on the treadmill. And I run through an episode. Literally, I run through an episode, and normally you're right. They're about 45 minutes. Show is about 45 minutes, but those Stranger Things, those are some long runs. They ended up being like 6 miles on that treadmill just because I wanted to finish the episode. But I'm with you. I think part of the rest and relaxation during summer should be teachers being able to just catch up on things they like, be able to kind of clear their head of the campus drama, the classroom pressures, all the, you don't want to have those dreams at night, where you get to class and you have nothing prepared. You want to make sure that you're just clearing your brain, because it is very important that you take care of yourself. And I think watching shows of a fantastical nature, I think does that. Like myself, I've been watching Stranger Things. I finished the first half of the season as well. I've been watching Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. Man, that's a great show. If you were never into Star Trek, you could jump right in watching that show and never have to look back. I mean, it's a great show, Strange New Worlds. That's really good. And then my daughters and we just started watching Miss Marvel, and my daughters love that show because they got a golden book called Miss Marvel. It talks all about Miss Marvel and everything, and they memorized that entire golden book. And when they saw that this was a live action show of Miss Marvel, they lost their minds, and so they anticipate that coming out every Wednesday now. So I love having my daughters be able to watch that show. So that's pretty cool. But here's another thing, Kyle, that I think people need to understand. Summer is a time for reflection and relaxation, but you do also have the time to upskill yourself. Now, here's my recommendation to teachers out there to upskill some things that you are doing. Try and use here's a strategy that I use for my students when I want them to learn something new, and I want them to have fun with it, but and really have no content relation. I do something called Mr. Miyagiing it. And basically what that is I give them a tool and we just do something fun with it. And it's just, they're having fun with it. They're playing around with it. They're manipulating it. It's very low hanging fruit for them just to play around and make mistakes and get to know a tool. But they get to know the tool. And so maybe a couple weeks later, we do an activity for class using this tool. And I go, remember that time we did it for fun? Now you're doing it for content. Now you don't have to train the tool on them. That's the best way to learn a new tool during the summer. Don't learn a new tool by going, how can I use this in my classroom? Don't learn a new tool like, what can I do with this in my classroom? Learn a new tool by doing something fun with it. And what I've been learning how to use, and I've been having super fun with it, is Canva. Canva has come a long way since I used it in my classroom. Canva was just an easy to create graphics kind of tool that was online. And if my students didn't want to use Google Slides, I let them use Canva. That was basically it. But Canva has done so much to make graphic design easy that I've been using Canva a lot more. I use Canva for a lot of the Q graphics that we create. I use Canva for a lot of our video graphics that we do. But I didn't, but when I was trying to learn Canva like really good, I couldn't use just Q stuff because I'd have a creation block. Like I'd be, oh, what can I use? It's for work. It's got to be great. And I'd have this creation block and I'd just be staring at the screen, not doing anything because I couldn't think of what to do. But then, and Kyle, I've talked to you about this, I decided to create another podcast that has nothing to do with education, just something to do with, you know, a cool hobby that we both have, and that's collecting vinyl records. And so I go, oh, you know, maybe I'll create a podcast about sharing some of my favorite vinyl that I have, the different cool colored vinyl that I have, and maybe a song off of it. I go, let me go into Canva and start making like some graphics for it. And I really learned a lot on how to layer and use all the different tools and video of the graphics editors and timing. There's a lot of cool things that I learned to do because it wasn't work related. And of course I would do this on the weekend because I'm not doing this stuff during work time, but I would learn how to use the tool. So now I am better with Canva to create for Q because I decided to do it just something for fun. And then I learned how to use a tool that I really want to start training teachers on called OBS. OBS stands for Open Broadcasting Software. And when I was first told about OBS, it said, well, you know, it takes a little while to learn how to use. There is a little bit of a learning curve with OBS, but once you learn how to use it, boom, you're off to the races. I didn't want to have to learn that learning curve. Like a lot of our teachers, right? A lot of our teachers we try to train. It's like, it's too much of a learning curve. I don't really want to go down that route. And so that really helps us to understand as trainers how to get teachers over that hump. But as long as you kind of know what layering is, right? And as long as you have a plan on how you want the video to go, it's super easy to learn OBS and utilize it if you have the right kind of cadence in yourself. And so now I think I'm pretty good at utilizing OBS. And now I want to start utilizing OBS for more of the Q shows, the Q media shows that we're producing more and more of. And I learned all this not through pressure and not through ripping my hair out to try and make the best thing for Q. I learned all this by doing something fun. That's not work related. That's not education related, but it's related to something that I enjoy, and that's listening to music and collecting vinyl. And it helped me become a better Q staff member by learning these tools, but I didn't learn the tools by making Q stuff. I highly recommend teachers out there to learn a new tool like this, but do it for fun. Use Canva to make your son or daughters or nieces or nephews or mom or dad's birthday card. For the next time, just create a graphic for a birthday card. Learn how to do that stuff. Just have it fun. And then you can learn how to utilize it in the classroom. That's my recommendation over the summer. Do things not work related, but can upskill yourself for when work does start.
Yeah, summer is a great time for things like that. So I'm choosing this summer not to do much of anything between just wanting to relax, between going on a 3.5-week road trip where I'm not even going to probably take a computer with me on my road trip. So I don't intend to do much work related anything while I'm gone. So, and then when I return from my road trip, then I do have training for my new position as special ed facilitator. So I got a couple days of that. So so like going into this new school year, because I'm going to be in that new position, I'm not going to be working with students. My focus is going to be more on learning my new position. And I don't want to say it's not important to learn other tools, but that's not a priority to me right now because I'm going to be in this new position. I just need to learn that new position better before I turn my focus back to other tools. But however, Ben and I on Beer EDU, we will have an episode coming out in September that we already recorded with somebody. And we talked a lot in that episode about Cami, which I had heard of Cami. I was somewhat familiar with it, but I never really used it before because it's an annotation tool where I've used other annotation tools, so I never really dove into Cami at all. But that is one that when I do have the time to, I do want to take a look at into further, just because of the accessibility features that are in it, things like speech to text and dictionary and whatnot. But then also using it with students and providing feedback in a variety of ways instead of just your standard comment in the box on Google Classroom or Canvas or something like that. You have the ability to do voice or video comments for work as well. So I do want to take a look into that further. And again, that episode is going to come out September on our Beer EDU podcast feed. So check that out and learn a little bit more about Cami. Or if you're hearing this and you don't want to wait till that episode, just dive in, go look at it a little bit more if you're interested in trying to figure out a new tool that you can maybe use with your students in the fall.
Yeah, I mean, actually, Cami has a really good kind of teacher certification program. It's not like you have to apply to be a part of it. It's, hey, take this this level 1 certification, and it takes you through very easily through videos and practice how to use that tool, and then boom, at the end of it, you get level 1 Cami educator, and you can move on to level 2. And by the end of that, you learn how to use it with students and do that stuff. I love when companies do that. I mean, companies do, like have like application process, be a this ambassador or that ambassador, or be a part of this creative team. Those have their merits as well. But I love when a tool, just so teachers have access to training, give you a badge for going through the training. I do love that. Cami does that. I believe Edpuzzle does that. I believe Quizzes does that. And those things are fun. And I know a lot of teachers love to put badges up on their signature. So you can look like General MacArthur or something up there with all your different, medals, so to say, up there. But, that'd be a cool t-shirt, right? Like all medals of all the different badges you have and wear that. I might have to make something like that. The next time Sticker Mule does one of their $9 t-shirt deals, I might have to do that. But that's fun. Right? Things like that, not just to say you have a badge, but if you like Kyle said, if you want to learn a new tool like Cami, it's great when companies offer those nice little, it doesn't take more than 3 or 4 hours to go through these things to learn a new tool. I love it. Self-paced, self-taught, and you're capable of using it. It's great.
Yeah, I've done the Edpuzzle one in the past, so it wouldn't hurt for me to go back and do it again just to kind of refresh my memory on everything. But yeah, there's a ton of those out there like that. I mean, heck, even like the Apple Teacher program is like that, where you're doing different stuff to learn a tool and whatever, and then you do performance tasks and quizzes to show that what's going on with different Apple products. And then the Microsoft one's the same way, where you go through and you do lessons and whatnot, and you earn points. And then after you earn so many points, then you earn one of the Microsoft badges. So yeah, and then if you do get very proficient in those things, then you can start applying to things like the Microsoft Innovative Expert program. And then Apple has I believe it's the Apple Innovative Educator or something like that. I'm not 100% sure because we just don't have a lot of Apple products where I'm at, and we don't really use those. So, but now would be a good time too, if you're in a Google district, where you can go through and do your Google level 1 or level 2 as well. Summertime is a great time to work on those as well. So I believe I'm up to speed on those already. I don't have to redo those anytime soon, but I do know that Google did change their test a while back to where they're not as they're a lot more accessible to people, in my opinion, because I think they're in the past where I like the performance task stuff. I think that was intimidating to a lot of people. So now the tests are a little bit different. I actually haven't seen the test since they changed it up because I haven't had to retake it.
Yeah, I did like the performance tasks as well. I mean, they were fun. I have fun time doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, now is the time to do that. And we would love, if you hear this episode, and, definitely get on your favorite social and use hashtag ditch that fear or hashtag EdTech Army, and let us know what you're looking forward to doing. If you're looking forward to learning a new tool or getting a badge or something, share that out. If you are a member of a organization or a company that offers these things and you're trying to promote it, tag us in it and we'll retweet that out for you, because we want teachers to have access to as many different of these kind of certification programs as possible. I'll tell you, I did, because I've been getting so into Canva. I did research to see if Canva has like an education badge or certification program. And there is one through an application process. They're in beta with it. So I just went ahead and filled that out. And, hopefully, when it's out of beta, I could be a part of at least something, because I really do like Canva. It's pretty cool what it allows teachers to do and students to make. I really like it. But I truly think, again, take time for yourself. Especially when you're hearing this now, you should be probably hearing this before the 4th of July. Enjoy your family, enjoy your time, because in August, you're going to be starting right up again. Right. But it's kind of like you were saying about if you, when you were working from home, Kyle, and, you just drove to the gas station to fill up and go back home just because you wanted to get out. I think during the summer, you kind of have to do that. Do something small, right? For yourself, learn something that's going to take an hour or so that you stay, it's like a tune-up, like you're letting the oil kind of still go through your veins to be, up to date with some of these things. But don't take a whole day to learn something, or a whole week. Just, keep your educational technology brain in shape by trying a couple little things here and there during the summer to upskill yourself.
And in the spirit of taking a little bit of time, we do want to respect your time. So we are going to start kind of wrapping things up here a little bit shorter than we typically do. We're typically around an hour, but because it is summer and we do respect that time, we do want to start wrapping things up here a little bit. So, we appreciate everybody that listens, that interacts with us on the socials, that asks questions, and I encourage you to keep doing that, because that kind of fills our bucket too when people reach out. And it's always nice to get the recognition. Hey, I enjoyed that episode, but I truly enjoy, the questions that come up, and then we recently had a question come up that turned into a 45-minute Zoom call where we answered a whole bunch of questions. And that was a lot of fun to do. So, Joe and I are available for those kinds of things as well, if you do have a lot of questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And, now is also the time to kind of create your wish list for the school year, right? Not if you don't want to do things over the summer, create a wish list of things that maybe you want to do during the school year that you want to kind of hand your administrator. I'm gonna give a shout out to Q. Q is doing a great face-to-face conference in Stockton, California, October 22nd and 23rd. Registration is open currently just by going to fallq.org. And so just ask your administrator, hey, can I go to this? Can I go to this conference and get it all squared away now? So when October comes around, you have something ready to go for. And another thing is, there's so many different social medias to connect with people, right? You have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have Twitter, you have TikTok, you have all these different things to connect with people. Q wanted to find a single hub that all of Q members could connect with one another and create groups and join groups. And so we did create a brand new membership portal. It's a Q community membership portal. And all you have to do is go to q.org and select sign up. And you sign up and boom, you're in the membership portal. You can join your Q affiliate that way and stay connected with your Q affiliate that way. If you don't have a Q affiliate, you could pick one that you like. I know, Kyle, you like the CVQ affiliate. You can join that one, right? There's learning networks on there. Learning networks are cool because you get you connected with members who have the same hobbies as you or the same kind of professional development as you. So there's an esports learning network. There's a self-care learning network. There's a technology leaders learning network to get connected with people in the same mindset as you. So highly recommend you take a look at that and see how it works. But as Kyle was saying, we definitely want you to take care of you so you can get back to class when that happens in the fall with a fresh set of eyes and just completely refurbished, kind of like, what was that movie? Back in the 80s, well, the aliens and swimming pools, Cocoon, like Cocoon, right? Swimming in that swimming pool, you come out reinvigorated, back to full power, and hit the ground running. Find your cocoon this summer. If that's your swimming pool, then take a swim and relax. But come back and be the best you possibly can. And like Kyle said, we are available. Well, Kyle won't be available for 3 weeks. He's going to be traveling, and he will not bring his laptop. But other than that, we are available. So please reach out to us. We're very friendly individuals. And if at the top of this episode that you heard me talking about Marco Polo and chatting with individuals, if you want to know more about that, you want to get connected with me on Marco Polo, just hit me a DM up on Twitter. You can find me at Joe Marquez70, and we'll connect. And who knows, maybe we'll become best friends like Chris and Tyler and all my other friends out there that I've met through that awesome platform. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us now in the midst of your summer. Thank you so much for everything that you do in education. And thank you so much for being a member of the EdTech Army. So have yourselves a fantastic, a wonderful, and restful summer vacation. Have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day.